Question 16, this is problem 3.3.20, and here we are going to calculate the coefficient of variation for two data sets. And I've opened up the data sets in Excel using the link here on the right. And there's a couple different ways that we can do this. Understand first that coefficient of variation is just essentially risk over return formula. So we are just trying to determine on an apples to apples comparison between two different data sets how much risk is being taken to get the potential return. And so what we use for risk is standard deviation. What we use for return is just the average of the returns in the samples. So here we can start with set 1 or data set 1, and we can use the standard deviation function to find the standard deviation of the first data set. And then we can go right below that and find the average. And we're just using the formula builder as opposed to just typing in the functions here in the cell. Okay, so we have our standard deviation over our return average, and what we need to do is, based on the formula, is just divide the two. So we would take the standard deviation divided by, using the slash symbol over by the shift key, and then our denominator is the average of the returns, and that gives us 0.324. And we want this as a percentage, notice in the answer box. So what we've calculated is a decimal, and we can convert that to a percentage with either a short key up here, such as this, and it wants it to one decimal place, so we can add a decimal place to that as well. So 32.4. And to get the same information for the second data set, I can just simply highlight what I've already calculated for the first data set, and then put my, using the mouse, put the cursor over the lower right-hand corner, the box in the right-hand corner of the highlighted cells. You see the plus sign turns to a bold plus sign. I can press down and hold the mouse button and then just copy over the formula to the next row, or next column I should say, of cells, and that automatically calculates the same information for the second data set. So that gives us our answers much quicker, and that gives us a coefficient of variation for the second data set of 60.3. And another way that I could have done this is to just create one formula. So instead of calculating standard deviation first, then the average, and then dividing the two, so essentially having three different formulas, I could do it all in one formula. So I would say equals STDEV for standard deviation, and put the data into the parentheses, and then I would do the divide symbol, the slash, and then I would do my average function, put the same data into the average function. And then in order to get it to a percent, I could just hit enter, solve this, and then change it to a percent with the short keys up here. Or I could just add to my formula times 100. So to change it to a percent, I'm just multiplying by 100. So I could use the star symbol for multiplication and then type 100. And that will change it to a percent automatically. And then I can back it down to a smaller number of decimals as well. And then same thing, I can just copy the formula over to the next cell to automatically calculate the data to set of information. So it gives us the same answer here. And then part B of the question, which data set has more variability? Well, in this case, it's the coefficient of variation that is the largest, so it has essentially more risk for the return on average. So this is a way, again, that we can take two data sets with with different observations and make more of an apples to apples comparison. So in this case, we would say that data set 2 has more variability because its coefficient of variation is greater.